this Thursday, May 6th, 2015. I'm David Knight, your host. We have a very busy show today. We're going to be joined by Freeway Ricky Ross in the third hour. He's going to be here live in the studio. We're going to talk to him about the war on drugs, and I think it'd be very interesting to talk to him about perspective of what's going on in Baltimore. He's someone who came from a very poor family. He got caught up in the war of drugs, as I put it, because we need to understand, and Freeway Ricky Ross is a great person to understand this, that it is a war of drugs. It's not a war on drugs. It's a war of drugs. Our government, as we can see when we talk to him, is involved in creating and supplying the drugs, as well as creating and supplying a police state, a prison industrial state, to take advantage of it. Most of our freedoms that have been lost, the precedents for that were set in the war on drugs. And so we need to pay very close attention to what prohibition has brought to us. Of course, there's a big story up on Infowars.com right now. Facebook, our Facebook account, the Alex Jones Facebook account, has been blocked for posting a picture. Go to the site and take a look at it. You can see at the top of Infowars.com. I'll try to describe this to the people who are listening on the radio. It's a pretty amazing picture. All it is a Islamic flag in the background, a guy with a hood over his head wearing some camo, and a quote from Stalin. There's no blood, there's no violence, there's nothing that anybody should be offended about, unless perhaps maybe you are cultural Marxists and you don't like somebody talking about your hero, Joseph Stalin. The easiest way to gain control of a population is to carry out acts of terror. It's also very easy to gain control of the population when you censor free speech. So we're going to be talking about free speech. There's a lot of free speech issues today in the news, of course. We've been talking about it all week because of the attack that happened in Garland, presumably against the freedom to mock and put out hateful speech. I do think the speech was hateful, but it's interesting to see how people are lining up on this. Of course, the press came out and said, you should have known. You should not have provoked these people. You should have known that drawing a cartoon that offended them would cause them to try to commit mass murder. And she said, well, that was actually the point I was trying to make. Now, we have an article that we're going to talk about later today. There were actually Muslim leaders in the community and elsewhere that said that they supported her right to have that. They did not disagree with the convention that they had drawing cartoons. They said that's her right under the law. Nevertheless, we now see that people like Franklin Graham, Christian, is coming out and saying they shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. Now, I don't think he's calling for the government to actually shut that down and censor it. I understand where he's coming from. I don't like to see Jesus mocked. I'm a Christian. I don't like it when Fox Family Guy mocks Jesus. You can go to the Fox Family Guy wiki, and you can see pages of the ways that they have mocked Jesus. So they make a pretty much a career out of mocking Christianity in that particular cartoon. I don't like it, but I don't want the government to shut them down. And, of course, nobody expects any Christians to come and murder the cartoonist at Fox, not even the cartoonist at Fox News. Almost said Fox News. But, yeah, there's a lot of cartoon reporters at Fox News. We're going to talk about what's happening with vaccines. Of course, there are bills in Vermont that they're pushing ahead, other places like California that they're trying to take away our informed consent. And I have to say that just like the Trans-Pacific Partnership, if they're going to do things like the Trans-Pacific Partnership in absolute and total secrecy, and of course we now see that Mitch McConnell is going to join with Obama in that, if they're going to do that in absolute total secrecy, the answer ought to be an automatic no. If they're telling us, if they're telling our elected representatives as well that we're not stakeholders, that ought to be an automatic no. And when it comes to vaccines or any kind of medical treatment, if they're going to give themselves legal immunity, as they got in 1986 under Ronald Reagan, and they're going to hold a gun to our head and force us to take vaccines, the answer ought to be an automatic no. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's already Wednesday, May 6, 2015. Alex Jones here calling into my own show. Things have developed so serious with the stealth takeover of the internet and free speech, not just here but all over the world, that I'm being forced today to actually not do the radio show, to legally do some research and contact different legal counsel on some of the actions that we need to take. First, let me give you some basic background. You've heard many political analysts, from Ron Paul to Max Kaiser to Dr. Paul Craig Roberts to Jesse Ventura to countless others, say that I'm seen as a canary in the coal mine. that if they ever come after Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com overtly, that everyone knows that means it's the beginning of a major crackdown. Drudge Report is also seen as the same. And you notice that one of the FCC commissioners 2 days ago came out on Monday and said that there's discussions about going after Drudge with the Federal Elections Commission. Same people that had Dinesh D'Souza put in prison for getting 5 of his friends to donate money to a Senate campaign. The Clintons can have hundreds of millions in foreign illegal donations, but you get a crooked toenail, you're going to jail. Well, they're claiming that all political speech is not First Amendment, that it's regulated underneath the Federal Elections Commission. And they're saying that they are now in discussions, again, to shut down the Drudge Report when it comes to political speech. Now, remember, we have federal courts that rule Obamacare is constitutional. We have federal courts starting to rule that they can forcibly inoculate you. The courts have completely fallen to tyranny. And from Australia to the United States, forced inoculations are beginning, and they're trying to ram through legislation. So there's an overall atmosphere of tyranny. We've seen the greatest oppression of American media and the press in history, according to Jonathan Turley, a top liberal constitutional law professor. We've seen massive amounts of reporters indicted, imprisoned for reporting on corruption. We have seen the Tea Party, gun owners, Christian groups, veterans groups audited, harassed, indicted, arrested on political orders of the White House, making Nixon's crimes look tame and no one gets in trouble. We see a president operating as a dictator, opening the border, shutting down our power plants, and having the FCC power grab the internet. We have the Trans-Pacific Partnership being rammed through right now in secret. The only provision we have out of 30 plus was leaked a year ago by WikiLeaks, and it deals with the internet. And it basically says corporations above government will have governing power to shut down anybody's website, anybody's company, or anyone's identity on the web with global internet taxation and global internet ID, where they claim you've engaged in copyright violation. They're the judge, they're the jury in Mega City like Judge Dredd. And you're shut off. Kill switches are in all the devices, the phones, the smart refrigerators, the washers, the dryers. The government admits that license plate readers are tracking everywhere you go, and Stingray systems are stealing your cell phone data. All of this is happening. And now, in the last month, outside third parties on our YouTube channel have almost taken it down 3 times. We have had Facebook suspend us on on all of our accounts that are over 3 million people. The largest one, 800,000. That was just today. It's shut down right now. We can't post to it or use it right now. All of this is intensifying. Alexa has delisted us, Drudge, Fox News, anybody not seen as pro-Obama. October 1st is when it launched. It's now completely clear from last year that October 1st is the nexus point. We have those graphs. So what they do is they incrementally attack you so that you don't realize what's happening, so I don't realize what's happening as it intensifies. But all of this is happening now. Congress can't even see the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But Boehner and Obama say you don't need to see it, you need to just support it. And Hillary's been acting like she's against it for the grassroots when she, of course, is one of the main people behind it. So we have been overtaken, and a new level of power grabbing is happening. Zuckerberg 2 months ago met with the Chinese communist censors. We've seen massive intensification of censorship there. We're seeing just all sorts of dirty tricks behind the scenes. They legalized domestic propaganda last year with the Pentagon. That's what you see with Jade Helms. CNN attacked us not once but twice last night. David Knott will play one of those clips. Cut what I said down to 3 seconds where it sounds like I'm saying they're going to invade Texas, when in the full video I say this is part of preparations down the road for federalization of police and law enforcement and state houses, as the White House operative Al Sharpton said 2 days ago. So it's on. The lies, the dirty tricks, the deception, the censorship, the audits, the harassment, the tyranny. A iron curtain of oppression is now descending down over this constitutional republic. And I need everyone out there to realize that if they can take down Drudge, and if they can take down InfoWars, and if they can say that we don't have political speech, and if Facebook can ban us because we put up an image with no blood, no gore of an ISIS fighter and had a quote about terrorism on it as a alternative or mainline news entity or a private citizen, you should be able to post that. They let ISIS operate on there, but they use that to shut us down. The last time they did this is because we were posting memes by a Navy SEAL group exposing Benghazi that